This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. There he is. How you feeling, bro? You have all 10 digits? Did you?
I didn't lose any fingers. Oh, I survived the night. Yeah, I didn't even mess with fireworks last night. There's so many people throwing them. You don't even need to. You just drive around the city, and you got enough shows going on.
Yeah. There's no doubt. Plenty of stuff going on around my neighborhood too, and gunfire and everything. So yeah, it's just about dogs freaking out. We got 4 dogs, bro.
The poor dogs are the ones I feel worse for in all reality. They're the ones who suffer the most.
Yeah, they freak out with all the fireworks and the firing and everything else going on. So, but it's good to hear you kept all 10 digits. So that's important.
Got to be able to type, brother. Got to be able to type.
So Marquis Lightfoot. First
Yes.
of all, I freaking love the name.
Yes.
Marquis Lightfoot. That is, that right there. That sounds very rock and roller too. On top of all of that,
It really does. You're right.
4-star defensive end, and Mario Cristobal lands him. Talk to us.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an upset. Ohio State was kind of the favorite, I think, going into the last couple recruiting weekends. Miami ends up getting him on campus the last official visit weekend. And if you listen to Marquis's interview right after he made the announcement, he said that he really felt good about Miami all along. And ultimately going back for his official visit just sort of solidified everything he felt. He wants to play with a coach like Jason Taylor, have a Hall of Famer teach him, a guy who's, they could basically see each other eye to eye. I think Marquis is 6'5", 220. Obviously, Jason Taylor 6'6", so they can, very similar builds as far as coming out of high school and going into college. And so, really good pairing for Miami, I think. Obviously, they're going to have a fabulous freshman on the defensive line this year in Ruben Bain. You followed up by getting a Marquis Lightfoot, who's one of the top 100 players in the country. I think it's a great pickup for Miami and a great win for Mario.
Number 67, apparently. So that's not just top 100 shit, and he's up there at number 67.
Yep.
I made this mistake. I was cruising through YouTube. I do every day and check out news and all kinds of different things, sports, crypto, whatever. And so I run into some Kane's website or something. Some guy is, and he's ranting and raving about how Mario isn't getting enough 4 and 5 stars and this and that. And I wonder sometimes, do people live in fantasy land constantly? Because I don't think what people understand is that kids and their parents or their guardians first have to see a program succeed, and succeed by winning, succeed by their players advancing to the NFL, like they're doing in Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State and some of these other schools. And Florida State might be a step ahead of Miami right now. And so that's really, for the people that think Mario's going to land a whole bunch of 4 and 5 stars all at once, that's not going to happen until he starts to actually win. Right. So he's going to have to convert 2 stars into 3, 3s into 4s, 4s into 5s, and he's going to have teams that, he has to do what Eric Spoelstra does. Even if he doesn't have a championship team, he has to find a way to overachieve with that team to make it look so good that everybody else wants to join you and be a part of that and build on that. Same thing Larrañaga has done. Larrañaga has had success, and the success breeds more success and breeds more talent coming in. And we're at a point where they haven't gotten that factory going yet again. And I don't think people think it's a fucking switch, dude. And it's not a switch.
No, it really is, and the one thing I would tell people, something that's starting to change, I think, in a lot of the answers and conversations that I have with recruits whenever I talk to them at national events or whenever I interview them, the best of the best want to go play in the SEC. They want to play in the best conference. And so I've had a lot of people, when I wrote about Marquis Lightfoot picking Miami, they say, well, why are you saying it's a surprise? Mario's an elite recruit. I'm like, well, they beat Ohio State to get him. And they said, well, what's the big deal? Why is Mario struggling in year 2? Look at Florida. They went 6-6 last year, and now they've got the number 3 class in the country. And my explanation to everyone who says those kind of things is, you guys don't understand how many of these elite players don't care ultimately where they end up. It's about NIL package, and do I get in the best conference? Do I get in the best conference? Do I get to play with the best players in the world that are going to go to the NFL?
And will you prepare me for the NFL?
Right. And so, yes, Florida was terrible last season, but they have a huge advantage over Miami and Florida State in that they're in the best conference in college football. And so that's going to help the Gators naturally. Look, they still got to go out and win, right? This coach still has to go out and do a good job with the Gators this season, or they could lose recruits if they go 4-8 or 5-7. But I think the general point is, I think people don't realize everything that plays in factors now. And Miami's, it's been 20 years since they were relevant. I mean, they had one 10-win season in the last 20 years. And most of these kids do not associate Miami with championships. They associate them with history. That's it. Hey,
right.
Great history. What have you done?
Their parents' history.
Right.
Their guardians' history. Not history recent history. Like, not the history like when they were 12 years old.
Right.
Sucked when they were 12 years old.
Right, exactly. And oh, by the way.
Miami sucked when they were 12. Miami sucked when they were 6.
Yeah, exactly.
So the history of their parents telling them, oh, no, the Canes were great and all that. And guess what? So was Nebraska 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of the problem here. And that's why it's frustrating, Look, I get it, dude. I'm the first guy to tell you, Mario owns the worst season I've ever seen for a Hurricanes team last year. But at the same time, I'm the first guy to tell you, bro, you got to give Mario – I'm not going to start judging him until years 3 and 4. That's when I expect him to start really turning the corner. I'm not even expecting much this season from the man, unfortunately, because you got to get through the stage of winning first. So then people believe that you're okay. You got it going. Okay, all right. I could go there now. Okay, you got the resources. You're winning. You're going to send me to the NFL. I'm going to get a great NIL deal. Okay, I've got all of that. They don't have that yet, bro. And it's just, and I get it, man. It's 20 years of sucking, so you don't have any patience to wait for the build, and that's kind of what's going on too.
There's a stat I threw in my story over the weekend. For The Athletic, where I looked this number up. They had 16 top 100 players on campus for official visits in the month of June. You know how many Manny Diaz had in his final season as coach?
How many?
3. So Mario is getting you. He's doing his job. He's getting Miami in the fight for the best players in the country. The problem is you don't get those guys until you start winning and sending guys to the NFL. And again, yes, Florida, what have they done? Well, they won a national championship more recently than Miami. They did have a couple trips to the Sugar Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't they lose to Michigan in the Sugar Bowl a few years ago? They've put guys in the NFL. They just had a top 5 quarterback, right, taken. So it's not like the Gators are irrelevant. They play in the best conference. Yes, they are a better program than Miami right now. And kids think of Florida in a higher standard than they do Miami, even if they went 6-6. So those are things I think Miami fans just have to accept and say, hey, you know what?
They have the college atmosphere that we don't.
Yeah, they've got the on-campus stadium. They've got all the girls that get these guys fired up to go there. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
By the way, and if things haven't changed from when I was a youngin', boy, they had girls there. Okay.
Yeah. So look, there's a lot going for Florida that isn't going for Miami, even if the coaches are in a similar situation where they're both trying to build their programs back into national championship winners. Florida's had more relevance. They've had more guys taken in the NFL draft the last several years. They're just in a better situation than Miami in that regard. So accept it and understand that Mario is doing his job by getting the best recruits in the world on campus to come and check out the program. Now, to sign them, you got to start having results. And that's the bottom line. When you go 5-7 and you fire your staff after year 1, and let's face it, Mario made mistakes. He hired the wrong guys. He thought these guys are going to come in here. I'm going to mold whatever roster I've got into what I want them to be. That's not the way it works. You got to get the players first to run the kind of system you want. And so he's in the process of doing that. He's flipped the roster. You're going to see more of what he wants, I think, long term with some of the guys that he's brought in. But it's a hard process, and you don't just all of a sudden flip the switch and become, the best team in the country at recruiting overnight, even if you've got John Ruiz and a bunch of money behind you in NIL backing, which they do. I know some people have said, well, Manny, the NIL's dropped off. That's why they're not getting the same. No, like it's a combination of things, dude. It's the money and the production, the NFL production. That's what kids care about. And you can't do that until you have several drafts and you start putting guys into the league.
Amen to that. Now, on the flip side, Jacory Barney, the wide receiver, lose him to Nebraska. What happened there?
Well, that's one of those deals where you don't really recruit the kid hard. And you think, well, we're going against Nebraska. We're going to beat this team out. We're going to come in here in June and turn up the heat. And this kid's automatically going to flip to us. And the thing is, Nebraska's got just as many kids from Miami Palmetto as they do as Miami does. They've got a roster full of former Palmetto kids, and this kid's out of Miami Palmetto. There's a local area coach who was at Homestead last year, Phil Simpson, who was on the staff at Nebraska. He knows these kids. He has relationships with them. And so Miami, kind of made a late push, and they got beat. And I'll say this for Matt Rhule. When you're in year one, okay, in terms of recruiting, you generate a lot more excitement. Kids want to come play. They haven't seen you lose yet. They haven't seen you struggle. So it's a little bit different in that regard too. That brand new factor when you're a new head coach, you usually do better in your first year recruiting than you do after your second when you've got results and struggles to show for it. So I think in this regard, Matt Rhule, just happened to do a better job recruiting this kid for several months than Miami did, and that's what happened.
All right. What else is on the Miami horizon right now as we wait for training camp?
Well, obviously, you're waiting on some more kids to make decisions. Hopefully, Miami, they're going to have a barbecue at the end of July. Where they're going to have a bunch of kids sort of coming back on campus, kids that they're after. They're hoping to land.
Are you invited?
I am not invited. No media is invited to come. We could stand out there. Gabby Urrutia from 247 and Metro Dallas.
We like barbecue, dude. Come on.
I love barbecue too, brother. But no media allowed for these events.
In the party, and then a players section, and then he kind of mingles, and it doesn't allow us to co-mingle.
Right.
Just feed us. That's all. Come on, Mario, feed us.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm all for that. Oh, you know me, I'm not gonna turn down a good plate of food.
It's catered. It's covered. That's what Sean and I say.
Well, they're gonna have that little event at the end of July. We're gonna get close to the start of training camp here soon. I think we're gonna start to see some guys who've been dropped from the roster probably make those announcements that they're no longer on scholarship in Miami or they're no longer playing for the program. So we'll start to see that news sort of trickle out. You got to get to 85 by the time camp starts. So I think that'll be some of the news developments that happen here. But really, I mean, this is all about, again, improving the class little by little. I think the kid that Miami really, really wants to get into this class is Kamarian Franklin, the defensive lineman out of Mississippi. He's another top 100, actually a top 50 player in the country right now. He's been to Miami 4 times. He's coming back for that barbecue, a 5th trip. And defensive line is a huge position of need. He's 6'5", 265, but he's one of those kids that has the large frame that you can definitely get over 300, put some really good weight on him, and all of a sudden he's ready to replace a Leonard Taylor in the middle of your defense in a year or two. So I think to me, that's kind of the key recruit for them. JoJo Trader from Hollywood Shaman on the wide receiver, the 5-star. It looks like he's probably going to end up with an in-state school. Miami has somewhat of an in because they've got one of his best friends already committed, Ryan Mack. So I think those are the 2 big-time stars that when you say, okay, Manny, who are we chasing down the stretch? I think those are the 2 primary guys. There'll be other kids that come in here, but the ones that I think they have the best shot at in terms of 5-star, 4-star, top 100 type guys, those are the 2 guys I think Miami has the best shot at.
All right, good stuff. What are you working on there at the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Just going to write these stories, man. I have all these interviews done. I got some stuff with Tyler Van Dyke and Colby Young from last month that I've been sitting on waiting to write as we get closer and closer to the season because sometimes people just tune out, man. They're not paying attention. They're off at the beach having a good time. Also, I'm kind of waiting for us to get a little bit closer here to the start of ACC Media Days, which will be the 25th through the 27th in Charlotte. So there'll be some stories on that. They're going to have a feature story on USF that I'm in the middle of writing. I talked to all their coaches and a bunch of recruits and players. Just kind of where they're at as a program because, everybody else has kind of left them in the dust, right? USF was number 2 in the country about 15 years ago, and now they're on the outside looking in. Everybody else is in a Power 5 conference in terms of the big teams in the state of Florida, including UCF. and they're kind of struggling to get things together there. So, but there's progress. There'll be a story in USF, and then Davi Belfort, whose father is Vitor Belfort, the MMA fighter. He's going to Virginia Tech. I sat down with him. I did a long interview with him, and he's got coached by some. When you're the son of an MMA champion, you get a chance to meet some very famous people and get coached up by some greats. And so there'll be a feature story on Davi, and he's going to Virginia Tech. He's one of three local area quarterbacks who are headed to the ACC opponents to face Miami in the future. So there'll be a feature story on him. Lots to read, man. It's summertime. I know people are kind of bored. They're out there getting sun. They want to know what's going on. They're waiting on this Damian Lillard thing to finally happen. They're waiting for Messi to get to town. We'll have some college football content for you.
We're waiting for Dalvin Cook, too.
And Dalvin Cook, too. Yeah, can't forget about him.
And for those of you that still have your fingers left, subscribe to The Athletic and follow Manny there, okay? You've got your digits with you, so put them to work.
Yep.
Subscribe to The Athletic. It's super cheap. It's so affordable, so you'll get all your local stuff and national stuff and international with soccer and all that good stuff. Doesn't get more international than Messi and Inter Miami, too, by the way.
No.
But are you guys going to hire an Inter Miami writer or what?
I'm guessing there will be somebody in South Florida quite often covering Messi and the team. So
they're sending you. So they're going to send you.
I don't know. I might be out there a couple of times. I wrote my Messi story already once. So if they need me to go out there and do more, I'll be more than happy to.
ESPN's got Marcel doing it now. So yeah.
Really? Okay. He's the new. It's the way it works, man. It's wherever they've got their contacts. I'm the guy in the state of Florida now for the Athletic. So wherever there's a news story, Florida State, Florida, Gainesville, Tallahassee, wherever, Jacksonville. I'm sure I'll be driving around quite a bit.
The world of streamlining. All right, Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you catch his work there at The Athletic because he's always working hard. Manny, appreciate you, my man. We'll talk
Good
down
talking to
the
you.
line.
Absolutely, brother. Take care.
Go Manny Navarro, Caneswear, Brett, and all the great people out there, man. Hey, listen, I got this hat at Caneswear. The other day, I went and bought this Dolphins hat. Yeah, baby. Huh? Sweet. They got all kinds of great lids. They got shirts galore. They got anything and everything practically with the Canes logo on it, folks. So go to Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. If you can't get there, you can go online at caneswear.com. They've got everything practically that's in the store online. And if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. Sneakers and sandals and jerseys and all. They got all kinds of stuff for your bar, lights, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So if you want a man cave and you want to dress it up, or your bar and you want to dress it up, or maybe at your office and you got some stuff you want to buy some memorabilia and kind of build up, your office, Caneswear. They got so many different things, and it'll get delivered right away to your home. So check it out. Go to caneswear.com. And, of course, tell them that Big O sent you.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.